I cannot move forward in supporting this because the manner in which the process was transpired, it wasn't something that was transparent to the public or even to the board. I myself wasn't even aware that this was an option. So how can I sit here and vote for something when I didn't even know that it was a possibility that the board was discussing? Also, I thought on the 15th that we had already voted to discuss naming the Richmond Highway, and so if the Richmond resolution is invalid, then shouldn't this item come back under new business so that we can at least have a discussion about the matter, as opposed to being told that this is just what we're going to have as a naming option. And so for those concerns, I cannot in good faith support the resolution.
Mr. Dudenheffer.
Madam Chairman, we've been placed in a very emotional situation, and I agree a lot with what Miss Allen said, is that what has changed since December when we wanted to name this after for Richmond Highway, which would connect it with Prince William County. There were a number of good reasons for doing that. By naming this now after a person, and I've been very vocal over the years that I think we shouldn't name these highways or buildings or what after people, because you have nothing but problems. I've already, just in the time of this conversation, received several text messages from people who didn't know that this was going to happen, who are very, very negative about this. So at this point, I'm going to put forward a substitute motion that we defer this so that we can have further discussion about this and bring it back in a meeting. There's no rush on this, but let's bring it back at our next board meeting. That's my substitute.
Sure, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Cohen?
Yeah, and I'm seconding Mr. Dudenheffer's motion, not out of emotion or consternation about Trooper Cheney. Everybody I know that thinks well of her, spoke to her dedication, and one of the things that as a trooper she cared about was procedure. And I know that the law enforcement officers that I know care about procedure. And there's a certain procedure, and I feel very uncomfortable that we're not doing things by the normal procedure. That it's, pardon me, I don't think I was going around lobbying people when you were speaking, Madam Chair. That I just think that one of the, and I remember back in December, we were not pleased that an elected official had gone forward with a naming of the road over an individual without communicating with the various entities that it would be applied to. To me, this is sort of in the same boat. So I think Mr. Dudenheffer's motion is very appropriate. This is not time sensitive. I didn't ask the county attorney for her opinion whether this is really new business or unfinished business, but I think it could wait until our next meeting.
Madam Chairman, I have a question.
Yeah, I can.
Let me
speak first, and then we'll go to your question. So just to answer a couple of the questions, since this was already on our agenda back in December, any item coming back is considered unfinished business. So this is nothing outside of the norm. Secondly, whenever you're putting forward a person's name to be named after a road, you absolutely want to have the family's permission and weighing in on that before you bring it forward into a board matter. In regards to deferring the vote, Colonel Settle could write this letter today and send it to the CTV. He doesn't need our permission. By bringing it to this board, this was my way to show our support to the Virginia State Police and highlight this idea to move forward with the CTV. If you look at the legislation that I put in front of your desk from VDOT, it says that the superintendent of the state police has unilateral authority to put together a letter to send to change the name of a highway. They don't need us. So this was more of a ceremonial effort. We really get no say-so in this. So if it fails, we could kick this can down the road, that's fine. But Colonel Settle could send this letter in tomorrow, and we've heard from the state police, we've heard how supportive they are of Trooper Jessica Cheney Highway. I don't think it's a good idea to belabor the point, defer something. We have a lot of first responders in here, many more outside, many more who have texted me, many more on our Facebook who are very supportive of this initiative moving forward and doing the right thing. It is time sensitive because we need the CTB to take action. We need the CTB to accept this name change, and if for some reason it would fail, then we need to figure out what we would do next. So I am asking my fellow board members in support of this proposal to vote against the substitute motion and deferring this item. Ms. Shelton.
I have a question about the procedure. And I'm grateful that Delegate Cole gave us that window of opportunity to be able to change the name for every county. And when does that window close for us? When do we have to make this decision?
If we don't have a name accepted by CTB by January 1st of 2022.
2022.
January of next year. But as you know, it has to go to the CTB. It takes months to get things on their agenda, for the process to move forward, and for everything to take place.
I understand. Thank you. That was important to me, actually. And Ms. Allen, I agree with you. I feel guilty, frankly, because I thought when I heard about this, the code, I was pretty excited about it. I thought, hey, this is a great way for us to be able to save money and be able to, because we already had found out that Richmond Highway wasn't going to go forward. But I agree that we need to vet it a little bit more. And my apologies to you, because I did know about it, and I'm sorry that you didn't know about it. And I think that was wrong. And I appreciate what Mr. Dudenheffer said, up in the clouds, wherever you are, Mark, but I appreciate that. I listen to all of you guys, and if we're not in any hurry, why not? And I love you guys. You know I love you guys, so that's no disrespect to anybody, but I think I agree that, and I'm going to change it. I hate being one of those flip-flop fishy people, but I really think I'm going to change my mind, and I'm going to go for the deferral because it isn't time sensitive, and we can wait. And I'll be glad to call our CTB member. I don't mind.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I didn't agree with the process, but the reality is I don't see a need to delay this. We're going to name this highway after this trooper who gave her life. And I can tell you, if you delay it for 3 weeks, that's going to be the only topic talked about in this county for 3 solid weeks. Your phone, your text messages are going to blow up. I've been through this before, and the best thing to do, the decision was made. I agree with it. Let's vote today, rename the highway, and move on. If we don't, we're going to regret it. Thank you.
We should allow this to be out there in the public for comment. We shouldn't rush it through. This was just put on the agenda. I don't agree that it should have come back as unfinished business because it's different from the one that was put forward in December. I think this is going to do nothing. This is going to be the Confederate flag all over again. And we don't need that. We have bigger problems that we need to find. We all agreed with Richmond Highway. Richmond Highway is the one that's being used up and down the corridor, and I honestly believe that that's where we need to go.
Are there other names, are there other potential names out there that people could have submitted? Is there, the public didn't know that this was an option. And so if we're saying that we're going to name a road that the public has to use, why shouldn't the public have an ability to be able to have input in trying to say, well, I'm in support of this or I'm not? I don't see what the rush is.
And I appreciate the folder being given to me right beforehand, but I could either listen to Mr. Smith or I could read this. Getting it at the last minute didn't really help the process.
Well, then perhaps we should take a 10-minute recess for you to read it. Meeting adjourned for 10 minutes.